Right. Okay, what we're going to do, what should we start with? Let's start with the jar, I think. Start with the jar. Let me get my things up. The jar. Okay, so this is just an ordinary jar. This one's even still got sticky from the label on. And I have used the wings to fly, and I have cut out the butterfly. Ooh, stuck on there. And I have used some of the other bit around to create just a little bit of texture. So another little experiment that I did, because I was like, right, okay, so glass is non-porous. How am I going to stick this to something that is non-porous? What is going to hold? Now, I saw where people had used cream paste itself, and I was a bit dubious, and I still am a bit dubious about sticking it with itself. It kind of seems to work, but this is with the acrylic glue. You can see the sort of clear bit behind. That seems to work. But what I have used on here is I've actually used texture paste. So this one is icy snow paste, but any of your kind of modelling paste, texture pastes that will stick to the glass can then be used to adhere your bits and pieces. So let's move that to one side and let's get started. Need my mat. Oh, it's a bit dirty. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to cut out my butterfly. In fact, I'm going to partly rip it. So I'm going to come in. No, I'm actually going to cut to start with. So this stuff is really easy to cut, but also it tears. So if you don't want such kind of a defined edge, then you can tear it. It will tear quite easily, particularly if you've got little sort of thinner areas. So I'm just tearing around my butterfly. I can always neaten it up if I don't like it. Tearing around here. And here. Go up. Oh, nearly tore the wing off there. I was like, ooh. Right, okay, so there's my butterfly. I am just going to get rid of that little bit around there. And this little bit up here. Too much for me. So that's my butterfly, which is going to stick. Now, oh, my hair molting. Now I know when I try to clean jars, I try to get this sticky stuff off, but actually having this bit of sticky quite helps because it allows you to have a play with where you want to position stuff before you actually end up doing it. So I'm going to now sort of rip down. Just trying to think how much should I have? Yeah, I think I went all the way down here. So this is what I used around the thing. I'm going to rip off these bits. I don't want these long bits here. Okay, let's see if this actually enough. So, yep, that will do. Can always fill in a little bit if I want. There. Yep, so that will work. Now, do not throw these bits away. You can use them as stamps, which I am going to do on the canvas. I'll show you how that works. But they are brilliant for kind of little bits of mixed media. Okay, so I'm going to take those off. I know that's going to, placement is going to work now. Put those to one side for the moment. And the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to get my, my texture paste. And I am going to, I'm going to throw that away. I'm going to get a stencil brush, and you want quite a hard stencil brush because I want some texture. So I am literally going to use my stencil brush in my texture paste, put my hand inside so that I don't end up putting my fingers in, and literally I'm going to go round my jar like so. I'm going to take my elbows off the desk because every time I jog the desk, the Gemini goes rattle, rattle, rattle. Now, this, because it's quite a thin layer, doesn't take very long to dry. So once you've kind of got your way round, most of it will be dry. And if you keep your fingers inside, you're not gonna, I say you're not, I probably will end up managing to put my my fingers in it somewhere. Now because this is got a texture to it, I'm gonna have quite a gritty feel to the outside of my jar. But you know, if you've got smooth texture pastes or coloured texture pastes, you know, it will do the same sort of job. You can add a thicker layer if you want. You could put a thin layer on and paint over it. I've kind of gone for more of a little minimalist sort of shabby chic effect on mine. And just make sure that you've got every bit that you want covered. Okay, now this is a texture paste, this is a brush, so not particularly compatible. So I'm going to put my texture paste in some water just to get it drying. While I'm there, I'm just going to take my my palette knife out so that it doesn't get a bit rusty. Okay, right, so got the outside of my jar done, and the next thing I'm going to me putting the lid back on that's not what I need. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to stick on my bits of from the cream paste mold. So I am going to use this as the adhesive because I just think I know that it sticks to the glass. I know that it will stick to itself. So, and it means any that squishes out from underneath is, you know, it's going to tone in with what I've got on the jar. So I'm not too worried that I've got too much here. So let's put my, okay, so I'm going to, and you can see that the cream paste is so flexible, it just squishes round. Now you know, on the other jar I've got some quite sort of bumpy edges along the edge of this, so this time I'm going along with some texture paste on my finger just to kind of bring that more into the jar than I did before, so the edges kind of disappear, whereas last time they were quite obvious. But you know, it's nothing wrong with it, it's just when I looked at it I thought maybe. What you don't want to do is put it on too thick, because obviously you want this to dry. Okay, so I am just going to hands, and then I'm going to do a similar thing with the butterfly. I'm going to use some of the paste like a glue on the back of the butterfly, a bit like almost like royal icing-ish stuff. So we're going to stick. I'm really sorry, I'm having to do it upside down because of the way my fingers are inside the jar. So we're going to I don't think that's quite how I had it planned, but not to worry, it will work. Okay, so I'm going to press that down, and then again, like before, I'm going to go in with some texture paste around the edges to kind of blend it in. Now, you know, if you are not really into your messy crafting, then, you know, there's no need necessarily for you to stick your fingers in it like this. But you know, that's up to you as to how messy you want this to be. But having looked at that one that I made, my one feeling about it was it just needed to be brought more into the jar than just kind of like looking like it's sat on the top. So this is literally just kind of filling in that edge, bringing it out, making it feel more like part of the jar than just plonked on the jar, which is a little bit what I feel the other one does look like. There we go. Now I'm going to just put that to one side while I just clean up a tad myself and my area, and then I'm going to mix up the white clean myself and yeah, clean my thing as well. With all of these kind of pastes, really important to clean your tools, because a lot of these things, once they dry on your tools, then that's pretty much it, done. Clean myself up a little bit. Okie dokie. Right, so we're going to get some white gesso now. Doesn't matter what white gesso I've got, just the heavier one, but white gesso. I'm putting 2 little blobs down, and I am using some of the Royal and Langnickel Essentials acrylic. I've got cadmium yellow and I have raw umber. Now I have managed to drop my cadmium yellow, not the cap off, not the stopper off, but it doesn't matter, because what happens is it forms a natural plug there. So if you just take the lid off, and I'm not putting it on top of the gesso, because I want to be able to mix it and control how much of the colour I want in there. And the same with this is raw umber. Okay, so I'm going to start, and I'm going to use a stencil brush again, because these is quite deep and you want the paint to get into it. So I'm going to just take a little bit of the yellow. So I want more of a lemony yellow. Okay, right. Probably enough. Right, so I'm going to, doesn't matter if it's still wet, because this will just mix in with the paste. I'm not bothered if I'm going over the edges. I am just giving myself a kind of yellow. Oops, sorry. Gonna take my elbows off the table and then it won't go. Okay, so there's my butterfly. Okay, now this, I'm not even going to clean this brush. I'm just going to take a little bit of that into there. I'm not bothered if I've got the yellow in. It will tone in a little bit anyway. Just want to take this more to an, like, just an off white. You can see it's not kind of a greyish colour, and I'm going to kind of go over and around the this bit that comes down. Again, everything's good in hindsight, isn't it? The first time, in fact, I might just cover the whole lot. You do something, and then you finish it, and you look at it and go, oh, I wish I did that, and I wish I did that. So I'm now getting the opportunity to to change the things that I didn't, not that they went wrong, just like having sort of had another look at it, things that I would have done slightly differently. So this time I'm going over the whole of it, whereas last time I only went over the band. Make it kind of a white colour. So that's pretty much it. And just needs to dry now. So we'll have a look at it again towards the end of the live when it's had a chance to dry, and then I can put the ribbon around the top as well. Right, so I have a piece of tape. Sort of tape. I don't have a piece of. I have a piece of ribbon. That's because I was thinking I need a piece of tape. I'm just gonna use a little bit of red liner tape just to start the fixing for my ribbon. Now you can see this is dried, so this is dried in the time that's taken me to do the other two projects, so it's not huge. So I'm just going to stick that there, and then I'm going to wrap this round. You could use twine, you know, whatever suits your project really. And I feel like I should have had a bow in the box, but I don't think there was one, so I think not to worry. We'll just put the ribbon around, and I just need a small piece of the red liner just to fix it off at the end. Oh, not that bit, because it's got itself in a tangle. Yeah. I'm just gonna. This is always the trickier bit, because trying to remove the red liner when it's on a piece of fabric or ribbon is always tricky. Probably have done it better with. Oh no, it's coming off. There we go. And then over to secure it. Just going to check in my box if I did put I did put a bow in. Look, very, very long bow. Bow nonetheless. Cut some of that off. Don't need it that long. And then just put that on with a piece of glue gel. And we're going to put it there, I think. And there's my ribbon. And I will use that for paintbrushes probably. I've got some nice new paintbrushes that now I don't want to use. They're too nice. So they should probably go in the jar on my windowsill and just look pretty.